Quite frankly, let's be honest, 2025 at the box office is likely to go down as the year of Warner Brothers and David Zaslav. Rest assured, this movie is going to make Warner Brothers a buttload of money.
Renegade Online.
This is definitely the year of David Zaslav's full slate, because this man came in back in 2022, and about a week or two after he came in, Minecraft officially went into pre-production, and that came out this year, and everything else this year. The year of Zaslav. I mean, everything we've seen coming out this year is really kind of moving things along. And what I want to show folks here, let me go over to the weekend box office here from the numbers, because let's just pull it up from that standpoint. There's a few other things that I want to make people cognizant of on this, but the deal is this. Right now, the domestic box office open at 42.5 million of Weapons is probably understated. What do we always say here? And we tend to be almost every single time correct. When you have a movie that from Wednesday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday of its opening day, the estimates move rather dramatically, either up or down. By the time we get to the Monday actuals, that trend tends to continue. Weapons was thought to come in with about $35 million. Earlier this $30 to $35 billion. It is now at 42. It has been going up throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and into this morning. That tells me that based on previous history, that the actuals for Weapons are going to be higher. And they're probably going to be higher by a decent little bit, $1 million, maybe $2 million. That figure is going to probably be closer to $45 million once we get the actuals come Monday. Freakier Friday was estimated to come in with a similar $30 to $35 million. It is now underperforming. You've got Weapons, which is horror, and you've got Freakier Friday, which is a chick movie. Horror movie dominated by men, generally speaking, with audiences. Freakier Friday, chick movie, dominated traditionally by women. This is perfect counter programming for an opening. It's not even going to be close. If you want me to make it worse, let's take a look here and let me show you what I'm talking about. Freakier Friday, when you tune in the international box office, again, from the Walt Disney Company, this is a movie that is expected to make $44.5 million globally on its opening weekend. Globally. That's what Weapons is going to likely make just here in North America. A horror movie. 70 million worldwide box office. Now, the good news is for both of these films, the estimated budget is around the same. It's around the mid 30s to 40 million, between 35 and 40 million dollars spend on each of these films. For Warner Brothers and David Zaslav with Weapons, this is a huge win. This movie is going to, it looks like right now, considering the massive uptick in trend line over the last 5 days since the final projections came out coming into the weekend. I think the worldwide box office might be 75 million when it's all said and done on Monday. It may be more accurate now because of the time zone difference. They may have more accurate data, obviously, in certain overseas market. But I think this movie is going to be maybe 71, 72, 73 million by the time we get real numbers. That tells me that this movie, in its first 3 days, has already recouped its entire investment by Warner Brothers. And when I say investment, let me explain. Weapons has an interesting story behind it. Right here. Yep, World of Real. Let's take a look at this. How did Weapons come into play? This is really fascinating, honestly. This is something that Zach Krieger was a passion project, and he put this thing out to bid. This is an article from February of 2023. Check this out. Days after a feverish auction wrapped up for weapons, the town is still talking about the wake left in its path 2.5 years ago now. The deal for Zach Kreger directed horror film is remarkable in that this is only Kreger's second film after the highly profitable debut of Barbarian, and it sold to New Line, a subsidiary of David Zaslav's Warner Brothers, for an overall sum of $38 million, which included the production budget and Zach Kreger himself getting $5 million to direct it and $10 million for Kreger in total. So when you really boil this down, the actual production costs for this film are under $30 million. If you do a little tweaking there, or maybe in the low 30s. So there was a lot of pre-profit built in. If this sounds relatively familiar, it should, because this is a very similar system to what happened with Universal and FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, with Jason Blum at Blumhouse and Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, who we reported when the first movie came out a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, that, hey, look, the Blumhouse boys, Jason Blum, Scott Cawthon, had already had a huge profit in their pocket before a single movie ticket sold. So too here did Zach Kreger. Now, the burden of the financial performance at this point was then shifted over to Warner Brothers, to New Line and David Zaslav, who stroked the check to get this. Now, here's the fun part. That's the astonishing part. Weapons is only set to be credited as Kreger's second film. What's even crazier is that multiple studios were after Kreger's screenplay. The second closest to winning out the bidding war was a team-up of Universal and Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw. In fact, Deadline reports after losing out on the auction, Jordan Peele fired both of his managers. Someone is pissed. What's not in here is that there was actually more to this story. It was also reported, if you pull up IMDb Pro, that this movie got a bigger offer from Netflix. Netflix also wanted this film, and they offered a bigger sum than the $38 million. They didn't say how much the sum was because it wasn't awarded. But let's assume it was 40, 45, maybe even $50 million. Why then did Zach Kreger not take the bigger deal from Netflix? It's because, according to other reports out there, and I think also from Deadline here, which is where IMDb sourced its data, Warner Brothers and New Line have a very, very good track record with running horror films. And Warner Brothers promised Zach Kreger, guaranteed in the contract, a theatrical release. Zach Kreger did not want to sell it to Netflix, even though Netflix offered him apparently a good bit more money for it, because he didn't want it to be just buried on streaming. So he went with David Zaslav, he went with Warner Brothers, he went with New Line because of the history of New Line in horror and the history of Warner Brothers with horror and the guarantee, the contractual guarantee of theatrical. What a freaking win. What a win for Zach Kreger. What a win for Warner Brothers here. Again, 2025 is the year of David Zaslav. I don't care if you don't like him or whatever the case is. Some people don't out there. From a business standpoint, this guy has absolutely proven his mettle time and time again. He's not perfect, but damn, this man is making some good business decisions. This movie right now, Weapons, has delivered everything that Warner Brothers could have hoped. And right now, this dude is laughing all the way to the bank. David Zaslav. $38 million. That is a big give for a movie like this for a relatively unknown director in a horror genre. $38 million for a horror movie is a ton of money. A ton of money, for especially for something original. It's not connected to a well-known, already proven franchise like, guess what? Another big Warner Brothers movie coming out in just a few weeks, The Conjuring: Last Rites. Another big smash they're probably going to have on their hands. Again, the year of Warner, the year of Zaslav. $70 million. So David Zaslav dropped $38 million right about 2.5 years ago. And in the first 3 days this movie came out, he's already recouped that entire investment, just about. I think he's pretty damn happy. Of course, Warner Brothers would have also been, in addition to that, responsible for the global prints and ads, the global P&A, the marketing for this, which would have added another, well, we can debate on this. I mean, usually horror P&As are not terribly big. So, I mean, maybe 20, 30, 40 million dollars. It's a very different enterprise here. But rest assured, this movie is going to make Warner Brothers a buttload of money.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.